Hola, buenas tardes. Good afternoon. Welcome to En Casa con la Plaza Cocina. It's a Monday, 1st of November.
Hola, buenas
Wonderful
tardes.
weekend.
Good afternoon.
Here, hold on, let me
Welcome to En Casa con la Plaza.
stop that part. Okay, here we are. I was just repeating myself as usual. Anyway, thank you for joining us today En Casa con la Plaza Cocina on a little cloudy Monday afternoon, November the 1st, celebrating Dia de los Muertos today and tomorrow. La Plaza de Cultura y Artes, these are our En Casa con la Plaza sessions, which we bring to you starting last April 2020 to bring our programming, presentations, demonstrations, conversations, and performances from our home to yours. In this case, I'm in my office and you're watching from home or wherever you have this a device to watch. We'd like to thank our sponsors, CVS Health, Aetna, Union Pacific Foundation, and also funding, which has been provided by the California Humanities and the National Endowment for the Humanities as part of the American Rescue Plan Act of 2021. Thank you so much. If you're on Zoom, use the comment section to let us know where you're viewing from. You could ask questions there or in the Q&A. We'll answer them during or after the presentation. Those of you on Facebook, same thing, please use the comment section. Let us know where you're viewing from. If you'd like to make a comment or ask a question, we'll do the same, and I'll pass it on to our host for this afternoon, Jimena Martin. Please join us, Jimena.
Good afternoon, everybody. How are you?
Doing good. How are you doing?
Oh, good. Today is a really nice, cozy day for a very delicious Yucatan specialty called Panuchos. And we have a very special guest, Juan Chan, who will be making these panuchos for today, Dia de los Muertos, in honor of his grandmother. So I'd like to bring Juan in so he can tell us a bit more about the panuchos and why we had suggested, had scheduled to do something else, but then we realized we were doing this class on the Day of the Dead that he decided to do panuchos instead. Hola, Juan, ¿cómo estás?
Well, hey, how are you guys? Buenas tardes a todos.
Hey, Juan, so tell us, I know we talked about earlier, we were programming for this day, we were going to do a queso relleno, right?
Sí, vamos a hacer queso relleno. We were previously do queso relleno.
And then you noticed that today was the Day of the Dead, and you wanted to do homage to your grandmother?
Yes, I kind of wanted to introduce a little bit more of the panucho. That's something that I kind of grew up. Every time I go visit my grandparents when I was pretty much 11 years old to almost like 15, I started going to Mexico since I was like 5 to 6 years old. And pretty much my grandma kind of raised us a lot with panuchos. And every time we'll go, it's just like the first thing when we arrive the second day in the morning, she'll wake up and to go to the mercado, like around, she'll get ready like around 5 in the morning. By 6 a.m., she was already going to the mercado and she'll wake us up like, oh, ¿qué quieren comer? Like, and I'll tell her like, you know, panuchos, that's the first thing she'll offer. And I was like, that was like one of the best food ever. Like, you know, she'll go in the mercado and when she'll bring them back, they're nice and warm and crispy with the nice bean puree. So it kind of like reminded me a little bit of my grandma, especially with this Dia de los Muertos. I kind of wanted to pay that respect of she's the one who actually brought me to know what was a panucho.
Great. For those who don't know, can you describe a little bit more what the panucho is made of?
Panucho is a handmade tortilla. Originally, it was made by un señor que se llamaba named Don Ucho. Don Ucho actually started doing. He was actually a vendor in Yucatan in the early 1900s, and so he didn't have enough money to provide to sell food to the clientele. So whatever he had, he created the pan. It was a piece of bread, and they used to put it like piece of like beans, like black bean puree, something like this. You see it here, and he'll put it in the bread and put like lettuce, tomatoes, and shredded chicken. Some people usually do it with pavo. And what's it called? After that, when they started doing those kind of things, they changed it later on to the tortillas, que hicieron tortillas hechos a mano, cuando se inflama, aquí le ponemos los frijoles adentro. En vez de embarrarlo como lo hacían anteriormente con el pan, ahorita ya lo ponemos que es adentro de la tortilla cuando tiene el aire, que va haciendo que se transforma que en el panucho. So de eso, más o menos, de eso se usaba más o menos para explicar un poquito del que lleva un poquito de lechuga, tomate, aguacate y cebolla roja y habanero.
Yeah. So tell us, how did you, besides, having these delicious treats when you're visiting your grandmother, what and who, how did, what inspired you to go on and cook and do your catering and such?
Well, the people that actually inspired me to actually cater, it was my mom, because she actually decided to do more catering and like in the early 90s, like half 90s, she was like pretty much doing banquets. So usually she'll put me, I didn't want to work, but she had to, she needed the extra hands and she'll tell me like, help me out. And she'll do cochinita pibil, panuchos, and just depending on the clientele, what she'll be asking. So I kind of started growing up doing the same food. And every time I go to Mexico and Yucatan to visit my grandparents, like it was more like a celebration every time we arrived, because all the mestizas will be sitting down, like las señoras, las adultas, las grandmas were sitting down in el banquillo, like, speaking the Mayan language and cooking. So every time I'll see them cook, me llamaba la atención just to go see qué es lo que estaban preparando. Like they'll show me, okay, este es el cochinito que estaba aquí. That's pretty much what you're eating. But at the same time, I didn't comprehend, like, no sacaban el animal, pero era el animal que mis abuelos estaban creciendo. And that was pretty much to give us to feast as a celebration to when we're arriving over there to my grandma. But it was a good experience that I started watching all that. So now when I started working, like going to school and culinary school, like I started realizing I was falling more in love with the kitchen. And to this day, I said to my mom, you know what, la comida yucateca, you don't really see it anywhere. So like, why not try to push it? Like try to push this culture. This is something that it should be aware with more people to know that, la cultura yucateca, hay muchas variedades de comida, varieties to actually to provide so you guys can see, like no solo hay panuchos, hay volcanes, albut, kiwis, and from there, with all this delicious food, but it's a lot of work when it comes to the comida yucateca. It's just not any kind of food, porque tiene mucho labor. Como haciendo los panuchos, like saying los panuchos, when you do the refried beans, you have to please boil the beans. It takes almost like 2 hours, and after that, you let it cool down, and I have to make it to a puree. And it'll take me another 2 hours to actually make it to a nice consistency. So I could take, just to make this, it takes me like maybe like 3 hours to make just panuchos to create it. Why? Because the process of the beans, the tortillas, you have to let it cool down, porque si le pones la tortilla y está caliente, se puede acedar también el frijol y se te echa a perder. So there's a lot of little factors, but those things is what got me more to fall in love, especially when I started cooking for friends and stuff and introducing them, this is it, what is this? This is panuchos. Like they'll laugh, they'll be sarcastic about it. And once they get to try it, I was like, hey, we never tried this. And people will say, oh yeah, I tried it when I went to Quintana Roo or Cancun, but they haven't really visited the authenticity of going to the pueblitos in Yucatan. If you think the restaurants, that's good, nah, you should go to the pueblitos, because the pueblitos, they deserve all those credits, because it tastes like grandma, like home cook.
Mhm. Now, this is a great book that we're talking about. This book, Yucatan book. It is a gorgeous
It's
thick
really
book.
good book. I have that book as well too. It's really, really good. It has a lot of information. From all the books I had, it has a lot of, it breaks everything to detail. And I do recommend that book. It was actually, my wife gave me that as a present, and I read it, and it's really good. It has a lot of more information.
Yeah, this is one of the few books that just specializes in Yucatan, and it's just gorgeous, gorgeous. A lot of images, a lot of good history, tidbits, recipes. So when you and I started talking, I had to go to my resources and find out. So if you guys have a chance, it's gorgeous. It's a great coffee book, and it's a good resource to know more information. Again, there's like 32 states in Mexico. Each one is so special. But today we're going to be celebrating all of Yucatan. Okay, Juan. So show us, how do you make your panuchos?
So first of all, I'm gonna be starting to fry. Usually I'll be starting by making the tortilla, but I already have it kind of made up. But aquí se lo voy a presentar. Estos son las bolitas de masa. Obviamente cuando hacemos las tortillas, más o menos it's almost like 3 ounces. And once you make the tortilla, you get the little aerosol coming out, you open it. Once you open it, you release the steam with a spoon. You open and you stretch it from the sides. So you could be able, later on with a squeeze bottle, put this puree, or you could get a spoon with a puree and have it inside the tortilla. So what you do, you put the spoon down and start spreading it side to side. And then now you're gonna have the beans inside the tortilla. And now after that, the second process will be frying it. Once you start frying the panuchos, you're gonna end up leaving it maybe like for a minute and a half. So you don't want to flip the panuchos, for the reason is because it has the hole. Once you start putting the hole, like if you flip it, the beans are gonna start spilling out. So it's just better to just leave it one side. And with the spoon, you start putting the oil to the panucho. Or if you have some tongs, you can just put el aceitito. So once it starts getting nice and crispy,
So when you do your catering part, like how many of these do you make for your parties?
it's just depending. There's when I did the LA Food Festival, we end up giving like almost a thousand panuchos. And for the caterings, it's just depending on the people. Sometimes they like they do like I give them like in the packages. Sometimes I give them like to 60 to 70 panuchos, and it's just depending. Sometimes el panucho se puede hacer en diferentes formas también. Nowadays you could do like como de relleno negro, panuchos de relleno negro, de cochinita, de queso relleno, de pollo, de pavo. So it's everything, like hasta de huevo sancochado. So it's basically el panucho is just the handmade, and it's whatever ingredients you want to add and be creative. Even if you want to make, even el panucho could even be a vegan friendly. Why? Because you don't have to put any meat. You could put calabacitas fritas, and you already have a panucho de calabacitas, algo vegetariano. You're not really getting any like fattening or lards and stuff like that. So it's really good. But
You know, it's gotten really dark. Can you put a little light so we can see you,
yes,
please?
is that working for you guys? Sorry, my lighting is not that great over here in my house.
It's okay.
It looks better.
It's a little dark. It's just a little dark.
This way.
Better so we can see you. So Juan, how long have you been catering?
I've been catering with my mother's when she started her business back early in 2000. That's when she started catering, and that's when I started helping my mom. And when I took initiative to take the responsibility to do the catering business, took over, I did it exactly almost like 7 years ago. But previous to that, I was working in hotels, and I was working for other chefs and stuff like that. And once I decided to say, you know what, like I kind of want to learn how to be my own boss. And if my mom had all this equipment to store it in the storage, and I said, you know what, why not continue what she started? Just the difference is I'm assuming it's just to expose a little bit more the culture of Yucatan. And that's what I've been pushing. Like usually I do home-based pop-ups in my house. Like I usually do it like on Sundays. And people usually, I work by reservations. People come and I'll share the menu with them online. And they'll set their reservations and they'll come and eat in my house. And I'll give them like 2-hour priority. So people, when they come and eat, they enjoy this all traditional food Yucatan. We give like from panuchos, kiwis, polcan, pochuk, all the traditional comida yucateca. So like, you know, this is what I do at home. But going back to the panuchos are already done. If you see it, it's nice. It's still soft with all the puree. That's what you really want. And it's really nice and crispy. Y si lo escucha, cuando va apretando la tortilla y se escucha bien sabroso. Ahorita lo voy a preparar y más o menos le voy a dar la presentación. So how a panucho would look when it's actually presented. Later. I'm sorry guys with the lighting.
So besides the bean puree, what else are you stuffing in with, Juan?
What was your question, ma'am?
So besides the bean puree, what else are you stuffing them with right now?
We're stuffing them as just the black bean puree, and I'm gonna use chicken shredded adobo. So what I'm gonna end up doing first, I'm gonna end up putting the lettuce. See there. That'll be the first layer. The second layer will be our chicken, our shredded chicken adobo. Actually the adobo that I use is kind of similar as doing the seasoning for la cochinita. So lo uso la misma marinada and everything. Y ya lo que hacemos, ya que se viró, ya lo desmenuzamos.
Can you tell us what's in the adobo for those who are watching us who don't know what adobo is? They might think it's adobo in a chipotle adobo or something. Can you explain a little bit more, please?
El adobo, pretty much when we make in our sauce, is kind of similar to what con el achote. El achote hacemos todo lo que es el cítrico, va siendo como la naranja agria, va siendo la misma marinada lo que lleva una cochinita pibil. Ya que le marinamos todo, que va siendo, que viene con el achote, la naranja agria, un poquito de vinagre, sal, pimienta, tabasco, hasta cinnamon sticks, y ya todo eso se va haciendo un blend hasta que se haga una pasta y ya lo marinamos con el pollo, pero el pollo lo hervimos primero, ya que esté hervido bien, eso causa que ya está cooked nice, ya lo sacamos que se enfríe, ya lo marinamos con el pollo, lo dejamos hervir, lo dejamos que se cueza en el horno por 350 a una hora hasta que quede todo y ya después los menuzamos y lo usamos para el chicken adobo.
Where do you get the bitter oranges?
The bitter orange, it's really hard to get it here. Usually my padrino has in his house, usually tiene las naranjas. Pero cuando él hace las naranjas me los regala a veces y lo que hago yo los corto and I actually squeeze the juice and I'll store it myself and I'll freeze them. Because that's something I learned in Yucatan. When I went, I was getting mentored by Miriam Terraza from Taco Chronicles. So she was the one who actually gave me the deal too. Like, once you get these, because sometimes there's seasons que no hay naranja agria. So what she does, she cuts them, saves them, and stores them. And when she's necessary, she'll just take them out, defrost them, and uses the oranges again. But it's actually tastes more better when it's fresh. But sometimes right here in LA, and pretty much is really difficult to do. Or what you could do, you could infuse it as well. Puedes comprar limón, lima, and a little bit of vinegar, and lo va mezclando todo junto, and you're going to try to mimic that same flavor as the orange flavor. Y le agregamos un poquito de naranja también para que tenga ese cítrico amargo con medio dulcito.
How long does it take to make the actual paste? I know some folks just buy it by the brick of it and add on to it, but if you make it from scratch, how long does it take?
When my mother, usually I've seen her do it, it takes practically, when she takes her time and everything like that, it's almost like an hour or so of the process, because everything has to make sure that when you're blending everything like comes out and making, you don't want to overpower too with the ingredients. You can just come in, because eso sí, lo que tiene mucho la marinada, todo eso, it has a lot of está muy fuerte los ingredientes que lleva, so you have to be really careful how you mix the ingredients, and that's something I keep learning with my mother, that every time she does it, she tells me, like, you have to be careful, because if you put more, you're going to overpower it, and it's not going to taste that much great. But la verdad sí tarda un poquito haciendo eso, como casi una hora cuando me los he hecho con mi mamá. O sea, hemos hecho también el relleno negro, o ¿cómo se llama? Que es el relleno negro pasta. And there's a lot of different kind of pastas que se usan en Yucatán, pero están muy fuertes por los ingredientes que lleva también.
Now, I would love to, once La Cocina opens up, to have a class, a los recados. I'm just fascinated by the process and how each color is for a different type of protein.
Yes. Yes, they have a different protein, así como el recado negro, pues se puede hacer muchas diferentes cosas. Se puede hacer como el relleno negro, pero también puede hacer yo lo he usado para hacer otras cosas, to create, because that's the whole purpose too, it's good to learn all this culture, but as a chef, you try to be creative with these things, but it's always try to keep it an authenticity as well. Pues sí, la verdad, puede ser como hay uno que me gusta, es el mechado blanco, que es el recado blanco que tienen que hacer, y eso it's a different kind of paste. It looks kind of like greenish but whitish, pero a la misma vez está muy rico. Cuando mi mamá lo prepara, es otro diferente sabor a lo que cuando uno lo compra ya hecho por paquete.
I don't think I've ever seen a white recado.
It's more like when she does it, lo trata de hacer un poquito que se vea así. Es como le digo, cada pueblo tiene, ella lo hace, se mira como blanquito. Y hay unos que se miran como repita, como verdecito.
Green,
And have different textures of the recados and everything like that as well. Y aquí tengo el panucho, mire, ya le estoy poniendo todos los ingredientes que ya estaban preparados. llevárselos.
So how often do you have the pop-ups in your home?
I do it every Saturday and Sunday. Saturdays, I'm gonna start being at the East LA Farmers Market. It's gonna be 8 in the morning to 11. And Saturdays, what we're planning to do with the Fotorico of Americas, we're gonna be putting food, and at the same time, we're gonna end up having Fotorico so people could see un poquito la jarana yucateca en mi casa.
Where is that again, one more time?
This is gonna be in my home. It's a home-based pop-up. I do it behind my backyard of my house.
Uh-huh.
So I work by reservations, and people usually make their reservations, and people come in and eat. Y esto es el panucho, más o menos para que vean.
Oof, that looks delicious. Now, do you put some hot sauce on there, some habanero?
Yes, lleva salsa habanera. Aquí, es que esos son los panuchos. Ya si bien aquí está el frijol, la tortilla, la lechuga, el pollo desmenuzado, tiene jalapeños y tiene su cebolla roja y que un pedacito de aguacate. Y eso es el famoso panucho que se hace en Yucatán.
You get that. Okay, Juan. So if I want to, please let us how we can find and make reservations with you for your pop-up. And what are your handles on Instagram or Facebook?
You can actually get in contact with me at my number at 323-984-6048. Or you could email me at EKBALAM Yucatan Cuisine. It's in at gmail.com. We have ¿cómo se llama? My Instagram is EKBALAM Yucatan Cuisine. You guys find me right there. If you have any questions, we do catering from buffet to plated, and just depending on what the customer is looking for. And we usually do food tasting as well for the clients so they could try the food before.
Slow down. I know, it was our Spanish speakers were like, "Blah, blah, blah, blah." But we have other folks who are just asking just to slow down. Real quick, what is EKBALAM?
Ek is more like Balam is like a leopard. Ek usually lo había puesto porque most likely it kind of represents my mother, and the fact that like a leopard, pretty much no tenía miedo. They're not faced to fear like any animal. They all attack. And
Fierce.
Yeah, they're fearless and something, and they're willing to take the risk. And my mom, practically, she was a mother, soltera and everything. She raised us as three. So it kind of motivated me that, like, regardless of the obstacles that she faced, she was always forward, like, taking care of us. And then my wife, she almost passed away by she's epileptic. So it kind of like, it was a hard thing because it was kind of more like getting involved too, especially if she was going with her seizures and everything. It kind of wanted me, like, she was a true fighter, that fighting all this and being a wife and taking care of the business. And I told her, you know what, let's just put it EKBALAM because it kind of represents more like you guys are warriors and you guys are fighting. So it kind of, that's why we end up coming and we're searching for it. Balam is like more, it's like a place que está en Yucatán también. Es donde están los pyramids, donde está el rey Balam. Tiene muchas bonitas pyramids también allá que actually te pueden dar un poquito más de las historias de qué es el significado de EKBALAM. Pero esa fue la razón que yo puse EKBALAM a mi negocio por mi.
So one more time. So we got Averado posted your Instagram account, but again, what days do you offer pop-ups, and how soon do we need to make reservations to be
usually once in my Instagram, usually I'll put it in my story, and people will, once I put it, it's done. Like sometimes, like in a couple hours, I'm already booked for Sunday or Saturday. And so usually I'll give them 2 hours priority so each client will actually enjoy this kind of culture food as well. And once I'm serving the food, I'll come out and describe all the texture of the food, what you're going to eat, where it's coming from, so people will get a little bit of that experience. And if, como si no puedes ir a Yucatán, but, where other people, you could find it here. And I encourage 2 other vendors, other Yucatecos right there, fellow Yucatecos, if you guys are hearing this, hey, push yourself out. Let's try to push la comida yucateca because it's well deserved. We should put this cultura so que las personas vean que podemos ofrecer también variedades de comida. Que la comida mexicana no es just tacos. There's much more culturism, and especially to teach the younger generation as well. Because I see like now it's no muchos de la generación de ahorita, they care so much about this, what I learn and what I learn from other things. And I would love to teach other young chefs as well. If they give me the opportunity to learn what I've learned, not just from my mom, from my grandma, and from other people I learned as well.
Juan, where are you located? Folks are asking where you're located and also about how much is a dinner session with you.
It's just, and usually I'm really flexible. I have the prices there. And once I have the prices, people just come eat like a regular restaurant. That's how I fix it. I'll put tables, people will come sit down, and I'll put the prices are there. They're like sometimes like the panuchos are $3.50, and then usually I have a crowd of 7, and people just have a good time. Like I don't really hear. I'm not here to, yes, I'm trying to build a business, but at the same time, I want to expose this to people more so they could be familiar with this comida yucateca, because it is a little bit tough because not a lot of people know about it. But that's my goal as a chef, and to expose it as much as I can.
Well, I think one of these days, Abelardo and I, we're doing casa on Mondays. I think we're just going to have to pack it up. Vamos, we'll go over there, make our reservations. I hope you save a table for us because we're driving from downtown and to have some. But in todo caso, thank you so much for sharing Yucatan cuisine with us, which is so special and unique. And go out and get those books and have people explore all the other different types of beautiful cuisine that Mexico has to offer. Before you go, Juan, hold your dish up because we take a photograph for our Instagram and our Facebook.
Right, and say queso, please.
Queso.
Oh, beautiful. Thank you so much.
En todo caso, Juan, muchas gracias. Thank you for sharing. Everybody stay nice and warm. It's a nice, cool Monday afternoon. And with that said, we look forward to see you next week. And I pass it over to mi compañero, Abelardo.
Okay, bye-bye, Juan. Thank you so much.
Thank you, and sorry for the sweating. This is my first time, guys, and hopefully you guys get to see, and I hope you guys to see you soon and give you a nice little treat with this traditional Yucatan food. You guys, I know you're not gonna regret it. Es algo que de verdad I really take pride, especially when it comes from generation to generation, from my grandma to my mother and primos that they're still working.
Well, thank you. No, we could see the pride in what you're doing, and you lay it out all for us, and we can't wait to give it a try. And all of you, please, I posted his email address, his Instagram, and his phone number. So check out, like you said, Instagram on your stories, right? That's when you put your.
In the stories, we do change our menus, damos marquesitas, dependiendo de los postres que damos también in the seasons as well, like tamales yucatecos. We're going to be doing a lot of good things with EKBALAM.
Okay, well, you got to be quick out there. You know how Instagram goes. It goes quickly. And
yeah, I know.
After a couple hours, ya estuvo, you got to wait for the next time.
No hay next time, porque si te duerme el gallo, ya estuvo.
All right, well, thank you so much. Juan, thank you, Jimena, for hosting today. You're going to be back on next Monday. We have gorditas with butternut squash with Marlene Aguilar from Iraquar, Jiqua. She's been on before, very entertaining and also delicious. Rosibel Guzman says here on the Zoom chat, you did a great job. Very interesting. And we have Holly Lynn Purser. I'm trying these. So yummy. So yeah, they do look good. All right. Well, thank you so much, everybody that joined us today here on En Casa con la Plaza. I think I froze for a little while there. It is a little chilly. But again, join us this Wednesday. En Casa con la Plaza returns on Wednesday evening with a commemoration of Dia de los Muertos. Remembering our loved ones with the class films by students of Thomas Starr King Middle School. Their teacher, Albert Celis, will be presenting some videos that they make every year. His middle school students talk about their loved ones, especially during this Dia de los Muertos time. And then on Friday, inside the Chicano Moratorium, 50 years later, it's a replay of an interview we did with Rosalio Munoz, an activist and writer, one of the organizers of the Chicano Moratorium, which took place 51 years ago. And then also on Friday at the same time here at La Plaza, a reception for a brand new exhibition, Patriots in Conflict, Fighting for Country and Comunidad, which recounts all the activity that took on before, during, and after the Chicano Moratorium, when Chicanos and others were were active and protesting the Vietnam War, but also we look at Latinos who did serve them in the military during those times. So we try to kind of look at both sides of the issue. It's a beautiful exhibition, very thought-provoking, and we hope you could join us on Friday for the reception. If you can't make it then, it'll be on exhibit until June 19th of next year. So plenty of time to come check it out. So with that, muchas gracias a todos. Gracias, Juan.
Thank you, guys. Muchas
Jimena,
gracias a ustedes.
we'll see you next week.
Absolutely. I'll see you next Monday.
Thank you, guys. You guys have a blessed day.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And thank you to all that joined us, and we'll see you soon. Bye-bye.